Kit Kats can read. Hey guys, it's Katie and welcome to another video. And in today's video I'm going to be bringing you my long-awaited, anticipated releases of April video. I'm a little bit behind in the times, but it's still going to happen. And what I've basically done is I go onto Goodreads, onto the lists to see what's coming out of young adult releases, and I pick 10 of them, and this time I'm doing it in order of release date according to Goodreads. So this is not me, so if the date is wrong, please don't shoot me. It's honestly what is on Goodreads, because release dates, they get pushed back, they get changed all the time. So this is just as of the dates as they are listed on Goodreads at this time. So the first book that I'm going to share with you, it's called Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. Now I just want to also say I'm going to be reading off of Goodreads, so my laptop is like here, so that's why I'll be in this direction. So I'll be reading the information for you. So this book releases on the 3rd of April. So as of today, it's the 2nd of April, so this book releases tomorrow. So by the time this video goes up, this book will already have been released. I'm definitely getting my hands on it as an ebook copy because it just sounds really good. And this is about Jane, and inside this book we have zombies, and I effing love books about zombies. I love zombies, I love The Walking Dead, I am obsessed. And this is just another sort of like zombie slaying novel, and Jane, she trains to sort of like defeat these zombies, and then one day she's in the middle of a conspiracy that finds her in a desperate fight for her life against some powerful enemies, and the rest is dead, and at least that is of all her problems. So yeah, just it sounds really good, and it's listed on here as historical fiction versus fantasy versus horror and zombies, so it sounds pretty cool. Another book release that comes out tomorrow is Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. And now Jen Bennett, she wrote Alex Approximately, which I've been told is like You've Got Mail, kind of like YA spin-off, and I do own that. And I'm excited to read it. I haven't read it yet, but this book sounds like pretty good all the same. So it says, ever since last year's homecoming dance, best friends turned best enemies, Zori and Lennon have made an art of avoiding each other. And it doesn't hurt that their families are the modern day Californian version of the Montagues and the Capulets. But when a camping trip goes south, they find themselves stranded in the wilderness, alone and together. What could possibly go wrong? That's all I'm going to read in it, because so far I'm really excited. It's described as a contemporary young adult romance, comes out April 3rd. I'm very excited. Next of all, we have The Ace of Shades. Book number 1, Ace of Shades by Amanda Foodie. And this book releases on the 10th of April, it says on Goodreads. I'm loving the cover to this book. I don't know if you guys are. I like all the cards like stacked up. Now this says here, welcome to the city of sin where casino families reign, gangs infest the streets and secrets hide in every shadow. Any Isolde was raised as a proper young lady, and no lady would willingly visit New Reigns, which is the so-called city of sin. But when her mother goes missing, they must leave her finishing school and her reputation behind to follow their mother's trail in order to find them. So they're frightened and alone, and the only lead is a name, which is Levi Glazier. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but they're not the gentlemen that they're expected to be. They're a street lord and a con man, and they are the only payment away from cleaning up a rapidly unravelling investment scam, so he doesn't have time to investigate a woman leading a dangerous double life, and Annie's offer of compensation, however, could be the solution to all of his problems. So then they search for clues, which lead them through glamorous casinos and cabarets into the clutches of a ruthless mafia donna, and as Annie unearths an impossible secret about her past, Levi's enemies catch up to them and ensnaring him in a vicious execution game where the players always lose, and to save him, Annie will need to surrender herself to the city, and she'll need to play. So it sounds really good and really interesting, and it's described on Goodreads as fantasy and young adult, so it sounds pretty damn good. My next book release that comes out in April also comes out on the 10th, and this is called Devils Unto Dust by Emma Berquist. Now this is about a horrifying disease that happened 10 years ago, and it began spreading across the Texas desert. It's infected people, it's given them the shakes, it's attacked the living, and it's created havoc and destruction, and no one has ever survived the infection. So then we have Daisy, who is known as Willie. and has been protecting her siblings within the safe walls of Glory, Texas. And when the good-for-nothing father steals a fortune from one of the most dangerous hunters in town, she finds herself on the hook for his debt. And with 2 hunters, including the gruff and handsome Ben to accompany her, she sets out across the desert in search of her father. But the desert is not kind to travellers, and not everyone will pass through alive. So it sounds really interesting, and on Goodreads here it's described as a young adult horror and western. So if you like the sound of that, definitely add it to your TBRs. This next book I'm really excited about, and it's a book that I'm hopefully planning to read in the month of April because I've managed to get an e-arc of this. And this is Rachel Cohn and Dave Lothan's new and latest co-written book, which is Sam and Ilsa's Last Hurrah. Now this is a young adult contemporary novel. It also releases on the 10th of April, and it's literally about siblings Sam and Ilsa, who have spent most of their high school throwing parties, and then this is going to be like their final blowout, their last party just before graduation. But they've each set themselves a rule. They get to invite 3 guests, but the other twin doesn't know who the 3 guests are. And so they're tempered with a large dose of rivalry, and tonight is no exception. One night, one apartment, 8 people, what could possibly go wrong? Oh, we all know the answer is plenty. Plenty also goes right as well in rather surprising ways. So I'm very excited about this one. Next of all, we are jumping way into the 20th of April, and we have Outcast by Denise Jayden. This is the first book that's in the Living Out Loud series. Now this was a book that I literally just found on impulse, but it sounds really good. I like the sounds of books when they have no idea like what's going on, they just randomly appear in like a weird place. So this is about Cass Bateman, who is not crazy, but they one day wake up in a wheelchair in a psychiatric hospital and they can't remember how they got there. So straight away, and to be honest, that is honestly all I read, and I was like, I like the sound of this. Sounds really cool. So the family members go missing one by one. Sounds like it's getting better, right? And they enlist the smartest guy they know to help find them. But underneath her brains and his brains, and there's indifference and some dark secrets under his brain, a whole lot of distracting sexiness. Can Cass keep her head together long enough to rescue her family members from the captors and the truly dangerous and the crazy ones? So it sounds really cool and really interesting, and I love the sound of it. Next of all, we have Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian, and this book, it sounds really good. So this comes out on the 24th of April, so near towards the end of April, so we've got like a few weeks to wait for this, but I think it's going to be so worth it. So this is a young adult contemporary, and it's a summer read about first love, feminism and ice cream. And it's about summer in the Sand Lake. It isn't complete without a trip to Mead Creamery, the local ice cream stand founded in 1944 by Molly Mead, who started making ice cream to cheer up her lovesick girlfriends whilst all the boys were away at war. And since then, the stand has been owned and managed exclusively by local girls, who inevitably become the best of friends. So then we have 17-year-old Amelia and her best friend Kate. They've worked at the stand every summer for the past 3 years. Amelia is head girl at the stand this summer. Molly passes away before Amelia even has the first day in charge. Amelia isn't sure that the stand can go on until Molly's grandnephew Grady arrives and asks Amelia to stay on to help continue the business, but Grady's got some changes in mind. So I wasn't expecting like there to be somebody who passed away, but I suppose it's just honestly, I feel like it's just going to be really sort of like heart-wrenching, like how they're going to sort of like deal about it. But I think it's like going to be a perfect sort of read, especially, you know, as you know, it's getting closer towards the summer, and yeah, I think it's going to be cute. Next of all, I think it's going to be a book that's going to be on a lot of people's anticipated releases of April, and this book comes out on the 24th as well. So this is Leah on the Offbeat, which is by Becky Albertalli, the author of Love, Simon, which, you know, became a movie. You know, that big book that everybody was reading? Yeah, Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda is what the book title is actually called, Love, Simon being the movie. So Leah on the Offbeat, we have Leah, who is a character from Simon vs. Homo sapiens agenda. So this is her story, and so basically it is a spin-off. So it's a young adult contemporary LGBT novel is what it's being described at. So we have Leah, who is a girl band drummer, master of deadpan, and Simon's best friend from the award-winning Simon vs. the Homo sapiens agenda. So then she takes centre stage in this novel of first love and senior year angst. But when it comes to drumming, Leah Burke is usually on beat, but her real life isn't so rhythmic. And an anomaly in her friend group, she's the only child of a young single mum and her life is decidedly less privileged. She loves to draw, but she is too self-conscious to show it, and even though her mum knows that she's bisexual, she hasn't mustered the courage to tell her friends, not even her openly gay best friend, Simon. So Leah really doesn't know what to do when her rock-solid friend group starts to fracture in unexpected ways. And with prom and college on the horizon, tensions are running high. It's hard for Leah to strike the right notes whilst the people that she loves are fighting, and especially when she realises that she might love one of them more than she ever intended. So I think this is going to be really interesting. Obviously Leah's story, Leah's a completely different person. I feel like a really quirky character, and I'm so excited to give this book a read. This next book release also comes out on April 24th, and this is Skye in the Deep by Adrienne Young. So this is Und Eldra, Breathe Fire. Raised to be a warrior, 17-year-old alien fights alongside her Aska clansmen in an ancient rivalry against the Riki clan. Her life is brutal but simple, fight and survive, until the day that she sees the impossible that's on her battlefield. Her brother is fighting with the enemy, but the brother she watched die 5 years ago. What the F? That's all I'm going to read on that because I don't want to say more, but it's described as fantasy and young adult, so it sounds pretty cool, and I love the cover. There she is with her weapon. I think it's going to be pretty badass. And the final book on my anticipated list also comes out on the 24th of April, so we've got a few releases coming out on like the same days, like near enough. And this is called Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. This is the first book that's in the Ash Princess trilogy, and I'm loving this cover. You can tell by the cover, yes, it's going to be a young adult fantasy. So here we have Theodosia. When they were 6, when our country was invaded and her mother, the Queen of Flame and Fury, they were murdered before her eyes. 10 years later, Theo has learned to survive under the relentless abuse of the Kaiser and is caught as the ridiculed Ash Princess. Pretending to be empty-headed and naive, when she's not enduring brutal whippings, she's pushed down all other thoughts but one: keep the Kaiser happy and he will keep you safe. When the Kaiser forces her to execute her last hope of rescue, Thea can't help keep her feelings and memories pushed down any longer. She then vows revenge, throwing herself into a plot to seduce and murder the Kaiser's warrior son with the help of a group of magically gifted and volatile rebels. But Thea doesn't expect to develop feelings for the prince, or for the rebel allies to challenge her friendship with the one person who's been kind to her throughout the last hopeless decade, her heart's sister, Cress. Cornered into impossible choices and unable to trust even those who are on her side, Thea will have to decide how far she's willing to go to save her people and how much of herself she is willing to sacrifice to become queen. So I think this one sounds really good, and when I was actually reading the synopsis out, my heart sort of leapt out with excitement when I was reading they're gonna kill the warrior's son, and I was just oh, I can just see that it's just gonna be some sort of either friendship with hatred sort of going on in there. And I love, that's one of my favourite tropes, when they want to kill somebody and then they find that they end up developing some sort of feelings like friendship or romance. Oh yeah, so yeah, I'm excited for this one. guys, those are just 10 books that I'm really excited to release in the month of April. Let me know down below, out of the list that I have mentioned today, your favourite out that I've mentioned, or if there's any ones that you're excited to come out in April, do let me know down below in the comments as well. But I hope you guys are going to have an absolutely fantastic day. Keep smiling, keep reading and be happy, and I'll see all of you wonderful awesome people in my next video. Bye!